This is the all-new Toyota Hiace Grandia GL. As you can see, Toyota made a very significant alteration in this new model. Is it worth its 248,000 peso price tag? Let's find out. The biggest change in the exterior is that the Grandia now has a nose. The engine has been moved to the front. On the previous model, the engine was underneath the front seat. One advantage of having the engine moved to the front is that you now get more space in the interior. Another advantage is that you now get more padding at the front. Every time I'd get inside the UV Express, I'd always wonder what would happen to my legs in the event of a frontal collision, or the rest of my body for that matter. I definitely feel safer having crumpled zones in front of me. Aside from the nose, there's nothing that particularly stands out in terms of styling. It is not a bad looking vehicle, and because of its large size, it actually looks quite imposing. The vehicle looks very boxy. In fact, the cross-section of the vehicle is literally a rectangle, which is good for maximizing interior space. Everything about the car looks big. Big headlights, massive grille, huge taillights, enormous badging. It is quite an enormous vehicle. And when you see the interior, you'll see that not a single square foot of it was wasted. The Hiace GL comes with 16-inch wheels wrapped into 35/65 tires. It has disc brakes at the front and drum brakes at the back. The Hiace is designed to ferry 12 to 15 people, so the suspension is obviously designed for carrying heavy loads. It has a leaf spring suspension at the back, which means that the ride could be a bit bumpy when it's not loaded. The side mirrors have two lenses, a normal lens at the top and a wide-angle lens at the bottom. The new Hiace is powered by Toyota's 2.8-liter engine. It is the same one that powers the 4x4 Fortuner. This one on the GL produces 168 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. The 15-seater Commuter Deluxe will get a more powerful engine, which produces 174 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. The interior of the Hiace looks as angular as the exterior. You'll mostly see straight lines and angles instead of curves. Almost everything is made of hard plastic. Even the armrests are not padded. There is no center armrest per se, but there is a center tray where you can put your food. The seats are pretty nice though. They're covered in synthetic leather with fabric inserts. The seats are manually adjustable. Okay, so is the steering wheel. The steering wheel is not covered in leather. It is not made of hard plastic either. It has some sort of rubbery texture to it. The vehicle has a touchscreen infotainment display. It has T-Link for Apple and Android, and it also has Bluetooth and aux. It has a 6-speed automatic transmission with manual mode. It has manual aircon controls. Storage is plentiful in the vehicle. Underneath the center tray, the storage is pretty deep. And then you have another tray here at the bottom. You have two cup holders here at the back. A coin holder. And then you have 4 cup holders on the dashboard. There is an oddly placed 12-volt outlet here. I guess it's for the passenger because it's very difficult to reach for the driver. And then there is an even more oddly placed 12-volt outlet here, which if I didn't tell you where it was, you probably wouldn't even notice it. It has a reasonably sized glove box. Unlike on the Star-X, the aircon vents are pretty tiny. Needless to say, it has power windows and power side mirrors. There are 2 ways for passengers to enter the rear cabin. One is through the sliding door on the right side of the vehicle. The other is through the back, although I imagine smaller people would probably have a hard time getting in through the back because aside from the fact that there is no stepboard, the hatch gets pretty high up there. You need to be of average height to reach it. It has aircon vents and aircon controls behind the driver, but only the second row passengers will be able to access it. There are no vents for the third and fourth row passengers. There are USB ports though for the second and third row passengers. 2 USB ports per row. The Grandia GL can accommodate 12 people, including the driver. If you still need to carry more people, go for the Commuter Deluxe, which can accommodate 15 people, including the driver. The vehicle may have room for 12 passengers, but it only has 2 airbags. But then again, if you have 12 to 15 passengers in a vehicle, how do you even protect all of them with airbags? The vehicle has ABS, it has electronic brake distribution, it has stability control, it also has rear parking sensors, which you'll definitely need for a vehicle of this size. The Hiace is a vehicle with a singular purpose. That is to carry a lot of people. And it does that very well. 12 to 15 people. It's practically a minibus. I specifically like the fact that you can enter the van from behind. For vehicles with more than 3 rows, that should be mandatory. This GL variant sells for 2,048,000 pesos. But the base Commuter Deluxe sells for just 1,590,000. For those in the transport business, that'd be the one to buy. If you need to carry a lot of people, whether for business or personal reasons, the Hiace makes a lot of sense. For most of us though, the Hiace is just too big. The Hiace is an enormous vehicle. The GL is more than a foot longer than the previous model, and the Commuter Deluxe is nearly 2 feet longer and a foot wider. Parking this thing would be quite a challenge, and I'd feel so guilty occupying so much space and EDSA traffic in this thing if I didn't have my family, my extended family, and my neighbors with me. So is it worth its 2,048,000 peso price tag? I think it's pretty well spec'd for the price, especially for a Toyota. Its competitors might be slightly cheaper, but this is a Toyota, and for a lot of people, that alone makes it worth the money.